the fastest way to buy Bitcoin in Australia from an exchange you can trust. Bitcoin.com.au.
Blockchain technology, it's clear we are seeing something quite revolutionary that's going to change our world.
I don't need recognition. I'm on a mission. I'm paying dues. I'm in position. I'm staying up. It's getting late. You're doing good. I'm doing great.
It's a huge push to connect the physical world with the blockchain.
It's always a good idea for investors to make the trend good trend.
You're doing good. I'm doing great.
Hello and welcome to Coincast TV. On tonight's show, a world leader makes a show of support for blockchain. We go to Shanghai for one of the world's biggest blockchain events. And can crypto save the planet from pollution? But first, a look at the week in blockchain with Tessa Dempster.
When the going gets tough, the tough turn bearish. Well, that seems to be the case for Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin this week. Giving Ether's year price low and congested chains, perhaps Buterin is citing the end of the crypto boom as the reason behind Ethereum's recent poor performance. But it's not the only digital currency in a downward spiral this week, as the majority of altcoins experienced losses of around 5% earlier this week. But there is a positive out of the US, as the Winklevoss twins have gained a green light to launch their new stablecoin, which is backed by the US dollar. Australia has proved once again it's big on blockchain. One of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges has invested in Bitcoin Australia. KuCoin has formed a new joint venture that will see the Singaporean exchange expand into the country. And Australia's oldest state has announced it will be pilot testing putting driver's licenses on blockchain in the same week that the newest Prime Minister publicly supported the technology. Kama.
The new Australian Prime Minister has been a blockchain believer from the early days. Scott Morrison says crypto is the biggest disruption to Australia's payment system in decades.
While Australia's latest PM might not have been a shoo-in for the role, Scott Morrison has helped crypto get a foot in the door. Last year, the Australian government overturned a law which was double taxing digital currencies. Soon after, Scott Morrison presented a bill scrapping GST on crypto altogether in a bid to boost the sector.
I looked a lot at, when I was Treasurer at cryptocurrencies. What we have is a new payments platform in Australia which provides 24/7 settlement.
The PM spoke publicly on the topic at a recent doorstop and didn't hold back in his pro-blockchain stance.
What has been done with distributed ledger technologies and blockchain working in the financial sector, that's going to open up massive opportunities.
With blockchain, the decentralised technology gives the power back to the people.
The thing I like about it most is it's going to deliver much tougher competition for the big banks. And business as usual for the big banks won't be continuing under the sort of reforms that I've been introducing as Treasurer and now as Prime Minister.
Australia has the potential to be a global leader in the tech space with a number of blockchain developments already underway. The Australian Securities Exchange is planning a blockchain replacement for its current system. And there is a growing opportunity for the technology across government and indeed the private sector. Down under, it seems it's blue skies ahead for blockchain.
I want greater customer power in our economy, whether it's in electricity prices or whether it's in banking. That's my agenda. I believe in it and my team believes in it, and Australians can trust me on it. Thanks very much.
Australia is known for being open to blockchain. Now it's reaching out to some of its neighbours. Here's why these startups are looking to Asia.
Shanghai, with its bright lights, fast pace and glitzy exterior, is the beacon of China's growing economy. The Pearl of the Orient, Shanghai is China's modern city, where young executives go to work in their designer offices. The city was host to blockchain businesses from around the world this week for the Wongshan Global Blockchain Summit. Austrade and the Australian Digital Commerce Association hosted a trade mission attended by Australian startups to learn from the likes of Ethereum's boy genius Vitalik Buterin and other leaders in the crypto space.
We heard from industry leaders including Vitalik Buterin and our own Craig Dunn from SANS Australia and Sophie Gilder from the CBA.
China's fintech market is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. Internet giant Alibaba has lodged 90 patent applications relating to blockchain technologies, and Tencent has piloted an app on its WeChat messaging service that uses blockchain. This is all part of China's ambition to be a world leader in the new IoT economy.
The Australian blockchain mission to Shanghai has been a fantastic opportunity to connect with Chinese companies who are developing and investing in blockchain technology.
China is also keeping an eye on Australia, taking note of Australia's role in chairing the International Standards Organisation, the group that's developing standards for blockchain. Meantime, in Taiwan, some of the biggest names in tech were at a glamorous poolside party to launch the Taiwan Crypto Exchange. Clearly, it pays to be a tech entrepreneur, no matter whether the market is up or down. Taiwan's crypto scene is booming, with the country quickly becoming a hotspot for blockchain technology.
Let's take a look at the top cryptocurrencies of the week, brought to you by Caleb and Brown.
Bears have dictated the market this year as Bitcoin took another fall this week. However, the difference between its highs and lows has continued to narrow. As Bitcoin closes in on a 7-month price consolidation, the bears have failed to secure a weekly close below the February low of $6,000. Many investors consider Bitcoin a safe haven for crypto and have been selling off altcoins accordingly in an attempt to push the price higher. Considering the state of the crypto market, the world's largest cryptocurrency could be set to move above its July high. Looking at the wider market, there is an industry expectation that the Chicago Board Options Exchange ETF decision will be delayed or rejected despite its September deadline. The largest smart contract platform, Ethereum, has taken a staggering 18% correction this week, as its ICO capital raises have fallen to 15-month lows, but bounced off an old support level at $175. EOS is holding much stronger than its largest competitor during this week's market correction. The third-generation blockchain isn't affected by the burden of supply held primarily by ICOs.
Up next, the top startups flex their muscles at a blockchain bootcamp, and what's the deal with privacy coins?
You're doing good, I'm doing great.
Blockchain startups from around the world were in Shanghai this week. Here's why the blockchain industry is booming in China.
With purple and aqua neon lights, the new Blockchain Centre in Shanghai looks more like a trendy bar than a hub for Chinese fintech. But blockchain global founder Sam Lee is hoping this tech space will support local blockchain startups in China and facilitate trade in Australia.
So Sam, we're here at the opening of the Blockchain Centre in Shanghai. It's a momentous occasion. How do you feel?
This is a big milestone for the true democratisation of trust, and with the Blockchain Centre we'll bring the public-private sector together to create dialogue that will move this industry forward.
Like many regulators around the world, China's government is exploring the payment applications of blockchain technology. While the Chinese government has cracked down on ICOs, this doesn't mean it wants to stifle investment in the technology altogether.
We see that China being a strategic play for the technology. As to where to next, we see blockchain as a technology that is relevant to everyone in the world, and therefore there should be a blockchain centre in every major city. And as you could see, the ambassador of Indonesia attended, along with the consulates from 5 different other embassies as well. And the Indonesian ambassador has announced that we will be creating a blockchain centre in Jakarta and a blockchain conference in Bali.
Chinese authorities see value in the ability to gain more detailed oversight and monitoring around transactions. The country also sees the technology as a way of ending the global dominance of the US dollar.
It will allow for the growth of trust and transparency that we hope to not only consume China but spread to the rest of the world.
At the end of the day, China might not be Bitcoin's biggest fan, but it certainly loves blockchain.
These coins might not have the best reputation, but you shouldn't believe everything you hear. Here's Data Dan to shed some light on privacy coins.
Psst, ever heard the one about the privacy coin? They're used in shady dealings and illegitimate purposes. Well, that's if you read some of the headlines. Privacy coins are, as their name suggests, privacy, or a confidential way of exchanging transactions. This has greater application in the private sector, more so than anywhere else. The most famous privacy coin has been Monero. Now, Monero's price has been up 12.9% over the month, which is a much better performance than the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and indeed Ripple. Privacy coins often attract the ire of government authorities all over the world because they're often being seen or widely suspected to be used for money laundering and in some cases illegal activity. However, as a report by Status Group now confirms, privacy coins are finding a greater application in the private and confidential exchange of information. Other privacy coins include Zcash, Dash, Navcoin, and Pivx. So the confidential exchange of information has value in this day and age.
For some industries, the jury might be out on blockchain, but it seems the legal profession has reached its own verdict. 2 international law firms are pleading blockchain's case.
It's been coined the platform that will deliver contracts on steroids. The Australian blockchain is set to revolutionise the world of legal agreements. Transforming paper-based contracts into digital smart contracts, the platform is being driven by 2 leading law giants. The firms have teamed up with Australia's science and research agency Data61 and global tech giant IBM to create the platform. Industry leaders say it's set to shake up the way businesses operate.
The automation of contracts is the future for business and for banking and financial systems, but what we really need is a network that we can trust. All 4 of these players have reputations that are worth more than any single deal they will ever do, and that bakes a lot of trust into this business model.
The Australian national blockchain will provide an alternative to other smart contract platforms such as Ethereum and Corda. Businesses will be able to exchange data and conduct deals in a secure digital environment. Several parties will be able to log on to a single shared view of a contract without compromising the confidentiality of third-party privacy.
I think the industries that are most ripe for this sort of technology will start off being the fintech, insurance, banking, telcos, finance companies. Then there's also those businesses who want to do physical activities in the market but need to track digitally and online where their products are or how their services are going and when they're going to get paid. And all of this can be automated in such a way that you can trust the network that's managing the contracting and the payment systems.
The Australian national blockchain will be the country's first multi-industry, large-scale blockchain. A pilot will launch in the coming months, and it's expected other businesses will jump on board.
I think Australia's main competitive advantage is that we are a trusted player in the international community. We have products that are sought after around the world and that we want to protect. So when we think about the business for the market for red wine, baby formula, beef, grain, all of these products have incredible integrity in Australia.
As the Ethereum blockchain continues to face scalability issues, it's becoming more important for alternative networks like the Australian national blockchain to come into play.
What we're looking for now is a system that's going to start to validate identity and also transactions, and that's where blockchain has real power that it can add to the internet.
Let's take a look at the top ICOs to watch, brought to you by CTIA.
In 2017, almost 10% of ICO investments were lost due to security reasons. Now, investors and indeed users of digital currencies were somewhat wary. The best way to look after one's digital assets is to have a crypto wallet. Now, in that vein, it's important to look at one of the upcoming ICOs, and that of course is the Korean platform Project Sledger. Project Sledger uses blockchain technology and effectively mirrors the same type of security protocol seen in many of the world's major international banks. Project Sledger has just completed its pre-sale. An alternative to the ICO has been put forward by Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin. Buterin suggests having a DICO. A DICO is a hybrid between a decentralised autonomous organisation and a traditional ICO. One such group following the hybrid mode is Evico. The Evico pre-sale starts next week. And finally, the world of augmented reality hits the advertising industry. Communications group Around is launching its own ICO this week on augmented reality, which effectively tries to bring advertisers to work in a new and immersive way.
Coming up, can security tokens take crypto mainstream? And is blockchain the answer to our planet's pollution? One woman thinks it is. That's next.
You're doing good, I'm doing great.
Traditional investors seem to be hodling on whether or not to get into crypto, but this Wall Street trader has already decided to make the switch.
When Zachary Rees started Block Trade Investments 2 years ago, the goal was to deliver the private equity experience you get in the traditional market to the digital asset market. He brought with him decades of experience working on Wall Street, where there were plenty of opportunities to learn from mistakes made.
When you look back at the 80s and the 90s, you looked at how investors were taken advantage of through penny stocks, through interest rates that made them believe that 20%, 30% interest rates were how the economy was going to be predicated moving forward. And ultimately what you saw was those 20, 30% interest rates ultimately caused the demise of the marketplace globally in 2008.
The finance and tech industry expert expects to see a transition from utility tokens to security tokens as the market evolves and matures. He says the similarities between security tokens and traditional equity in a company are too big for traditional investors to ignore.
Security tokens flips that on its ear and allows it to turn things into a security the same way that you have on the traditional stock exchange. What you're going to see occur now is stocks being issued in the matter or the function of a security token, but they're going to pay dividends.
Rees sees security tokens as a market tool that will allow crypto exchanges to be built up into what traditional exchanges are now.
It will move from a severely unstable structure when you talk about utility to a much more stable coin as well as offering when you move to a security token.
So what does all that mean for the cavalier crypto investors that bet on coins?
Everyone's always talked about institutional money, institutional money, institutional money. It will never come in until we are compliant from a regulatory standpoint.
And what does he make of the market corrections we've been seeing in the developing global crypto economy?
What you're seeing is growing pains. In an exchange that's been around for over 200 years, the New York Stock Exchange, you see 6 to 8 market corrections a year. I ask anyone who's watching this, how many market corrections have we seen over the past 12 months? The answer is one very large one. And everyone has gone, oh, it's a recession. How can you have a recession when you never truly had a bull market?
Now let's take a look at the week ahead with Tessa.
A number of big names in blockchain are planning to lobby Washington, D.C. lawmakers with a new blockchain association. With members including Coinbase and Circle, the organisation hopes to normalise the relationship between crypto startups and regulators. In other news, NASDAQ reportedly is on the cusp of giving institutional investors an analytical edge. The US stock exchange is allegedly planning to add price prediction tools to hundreds of crypto assets. Over in the UAE, the nation's financial regulator is looking into digital currencies as securities. Its Securities and Commodities Authority has approved plans to regulate activities such as ICOs and crypto exchanges. In conferences, you'll catch me in Singapore next week for a number of blockchain conferences. Firstly, I'll be tagging along with the wholesale investor for Emergent Singapore before heading to Consensus. Kama.
The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet, and those waters are clogged with more than 260,000 tonnes of litter. But this self-confessed Bitcoin Joan of Arc thinks blockchain could help change this.
By 2050, it's predicted the world's oceans will have more plastic than fish. Blockchain has been creating innovative solutions to everyday problems. But could this tech teach us to pick up our trash? Bitcoin and blockchain expert Toni Lane Casserly thinks it can.
We could create an entire economy where people that lived on the beach and just wanted to surf could make enough money to live by going out every single day, gathering data about the ocean, picking up trash, cleaning the water, and the more you contribute to the health of the ocean, the more value you get back.
80% of ocean pollution comes from the land. Dubbed the hottest woman in crypto, Casserly believes a blockchain solution could be a powerful motivator.
It's the idea that you could actually say, I am going out there to meaningfully solve a problem in the ocean, and maybe I'm only solving a really small problem. I'm picking up trash at the beach every day, and so I get a little bit of value.
A job shared is a job halved, and there are plenty more new ideas and technologies currently being considered.
Blockchain is just a tool, but it is a powerful tool to enable that shift.
Thanks for joining us tonight. If you want to know more about the stories you've just seen, go to coincasttv.com. You can also find us on Apple TV or catch some of our stories on the Wall Street Journal online. Coincast TV is on Sky News Business every Friday at 7:30 p.m. See you next week and keep hodling.